Last episode, we started a brand new season, making 3 new statement signings, but 2 losses and 6 goals conceded in our first 2 games of the season means we've got a big job on our hands to get our season back on track. But as ever, if you're enjoying the series so far, please feel free to like and subscribe, and let's get into today's episode. Now, as you can see, those 2 shocking performances have left us rock bottom in the Premier League with a -5 goal difference. Morale is fairly low within the camp, and so far, Beto is the only player to get on the score sheet in the opening couple of games. However, the bigger problem is the performances of this man, Jordan Pickford, my highest rated player in the team at 84 rated and England's number 1. He's had an absolutely shocking start to the season, conceding 6 goals in 2 games and starting off the Premier League campaign with just a 4.25 overall rating. Now, bearing in mind I've only got £5 million left in my transfer budget this season, I put the question to you, should I consider trying to make a change between the sticks, and should I consider trying to sell this man, Jordan Pickford, to try and raise some additional funds? However, the overwhelming majority of you had far more confidence in him than I do at the moment, and you're suggesting that I stick with him for the foreseeable future and keep him as our number 1 goalkeeper. So with that in mind, I have decided to try and change his development plan to be focused on a sweeper keeper to try and see if he can boost his stats a little bit more. And I've just got to hope, with my only other backup goalkeeper, Yao Virginia, only being a 67 rated, I've just got to hope that he plays his way into some form and starts to pick up his performances as the season progresses. However, with plenty of gaps and holes still remaining in my starting 11 and in the rest of my squad, but with only £5 million left to spend, if I am going to consider bringing in one more player this window, I think I'm going to have to start getting creative. Now, looking at this starting 11, across the board, we're okay in most positions, but I think the glaringly obvious issues that we've got is at right back in my defence. Now, yes, Nathan Patterson is only 22 years of age and he's got plenty of room to grow and develop, but with him only being 74 rated, I can't just wait around and in the hope that he will progress as the season goes on. And with Brian Williams, an 18-year-old, only rated 64, he's not exactly a top-tier backup to try and provide some competition to him either. Now, thanks to you guys, you have provided me with quite a decent array of talent that I could potentially shortlist and choose from, that I could try and add to the Everton ranks. But as you can see from the asking prices of all these players, they do massively dwarf my budget that I've got remaining. And unfortunately, when I start looking through the free transfer list to see if there are any sort of bargains that I can pick up, as you can see going through this list, it is pretty much slim pickings right across the board. But as you will see, even when I try and go a different route and try and see if I can approach some of these teams to get some of these right backs in on loan instead, none of the clubs are interested one bit in trying to offer me the opportunity to try and bring these players in on a temporary basis. So the only other option I have is, with Neil Maupay only having 10 months left remaining on his contract, I have decided to stick him on the transfer list to see if I can raise some much needed funds. And whilst Porto have come in immediately with a fairly decent offer of £4.95 million for him, that won't even get me up to the £10 million mark on my budget, and it won't even be enough to try and secure the services of the cheapest right back on my shortlist in Kyle Walker-Peters, as he's valued at 12.6. And so, bearing in mind that Neil Maupay is supposed to be the man who's going to be providing some much needed competition and backup to the likes of Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Beto up front, if I end up selling him, it is going to leave me light up front. And for an offer of just £4.95 million, I really don't think that's a risk that is worth taking. So I'm going to reject the offer for now, and instead I'm actually going to offer him a 2-year contract extension, which he is more than happy to accept. It means that I've got him on the books for another couple of years, and it means that hopefully in the summer I can try and see if I can get some more money for the Frenchman. It does mean, however, with his additional wages now bringing my transfer budget down to just £4 million, my defence unfortunately is going to be set as it is now, at least until January, and it means I am going to be relying on this man Nathan Patterson to try and grow and develop his career as quickly as possible, and the same for the young 18-year-old Brian Williams. Now, hopefully changing Patterson's development plan to be more focused on an inverted right back, which will hopefully try and boost the attributes that need the most improving. That will hopefully try and be a key element to get some better performances out of the young Scotsman, as we hope and pray that our defence can sort itself out and get back to winning ways in our very next game. And speaking of our very next game, we are getting stuck straight back into the action, and we're going to be looking to this man, Mikael Damsgaard, to try and see if he can spark some creativity into a pretty lacklustre attack so far this season. Speaking of our attack though, it is attack that is the main change to my starting 11, with Beto coming in up front, being the only man who has scored so far this season. He takes the place of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who drops to the bench. So here we go then, a huge game here against the Brentford team that we must beat, and we must get 3 points from. And of course, it is Damsgaard's return against his former club, and I'm sure he will be eager to try and put in a decent performance. But so far, we've lost the ball in a dangerous position, but fortunately enough, we do just about manage to win it back. But Harris Into Lewis Potter down the left-hand side. He's got the pace now to drive down this left-hand side. He's been chased by Mark Gay. Thrown into the box, though. Headed away by Hatto at the back post. And Dwight McNeil will pick up the scraps and now try and bring the ball out of defence. Plays a nice short one into Beto. Can he hold it up to a decent amount to try and allow some of my players to get involved in the game? And that's a wonderful ball out to Patterson on the right side. He looks for Bakayoko. Tried to feed it into Damsgaard, who was inches away from getting the through ball and potentially being one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Branthwaite into Onana, into Mark Gay. Mark Gay to try and bring it out of defence, but Brentford are cutting off the lines. My word, look at the challenge there. He literally leapt off the floor with 2 feet. He was a very lucky man that did not connect. But look, for us, we just can't seem to connect any sort of passes together. Can't even get out of our own half here. We're starting off this game exactly as we started and ended both of the games in the last episode, as Brentford now are going to take the fight to us down this right-hand side. Hickey with a nice ball in. He's cut off, though, by Mark Gay. Mark Gay can't win the ball back. And then Buemo, oh my word, he was in the penalty area. And the momentum has totally gone out of that attack. But fortunately enough, he has picked it up again. He'll go one-on-one with Hatto. Plays it into De Silva. De Silva goes past Gay. Into Garcia. Big save. Well, defensively, the struggles continue as our defence just seems to be opened up at will here as Brentford take a short corner. And it's one that Mbremo does the dummy around James Garner. Plays a lovely ball into Lewis Potter. He shapes it up on his left. Garcia with another big save. Mark Gay being pressured. Brentford pressing us high up the field, and once again we cannot seem to beat that press, but Bakayoko fortunately plays it into Beto, and now Garner can release from the shackles of midfield, drives into the box, Garner strikes. That is absolutely brilliant from one of my central defensive midfielders. A lovely run through the middle and a finish of absolute beauty. Well, it's his first goal of the season and it sends the Everton fans into absolute raptures here at Goodison Park. He drove through the heart of the Brentford midfield, He was laid on a plate for him by Beto with a lovely little touch, and Garner absolutely smashed it into the top left-hand corner. It's 1-0. After a pretty lacklustre opening 45 minutes for us, fortunately enough, with our first real attack of the game, James Garner was able to take the opportunity with aplomb and fire us into a 1-0 lead, but it's a 1-0 lead we have to keep hold of as Garcia tries to drive through my defence, but Mark Gay gets in there with a challenge. What was Pickford doing again? McNeil has to come to the rescue, makes a bit of a hash of it, and with just a couple of silly mistakes from us at the back, yet again, Brentford have got a corner from absolutely nothing, and it's one that Rayner is going to now throw into the box. He does, looking for Garcia on the head, straight at Pickford. It's hacked away by Hatto. Mbuemo into Hickey down the right side. He's being chased by Hatto, but he floats a ball into the back post. Rayner has it with the head, but Pickford just about manages to keep hold of it. Into Onana. Onana short into Damsgaard, who has come short to try and get involved in the game. Mark Gay out wide to Patterson. Patterson goes infield to Bakayoko. We're playing the ball around nicely here, but it's inside our half, and we're not really threatening too much as Onana tries to cut it back into the path of Beto. Slowly but surely, we're building out from the back, and that's a nice ball into Patterson down the right-hand side. He's going to check back, look for the run into Beto. He gets his wires all mixed up. And that is pretty much the story so far of this season. We can't seem to really carve out any decent opportunities aside from the Garner goal earlier. But Bakayoko has won the ball back high up the field here. He plays it into Dwight McNeil. Dwight McNeil now, I was looking for Damsgaard. Again, he got the ball wrong. And once again, our frustration builds into Onana. Onana around the corner into Hatto. Much better here from Everton in this second half. But just as I say that, it's a really poor one yet again from Onana. And now Brentford can try and release Garcia in the centre. He's being chased down by Hatto. Hatto wins it back well though, and now Branthwaite out of defence. Nice cutting pass through to Bakayoko. Does he have any support up ahead of him? I'm going to try and float a ball into Beto. It's a terrible ball. And again, it's symptomatic of our display so far this season. Zanka now to bring it out of defence for Brentford. Sudakov has it again. Nice little one-touch pass in between the two of them. It's a good press though from Beto. And Damsgaard now has it into Onana. Onana is surely now going to try and release Beto. He does. Beto takes it on. Beto strikes with his right. Gets it all wrong. That's horrendous. Well, we've got 5 minutes plus stoppage time remaining on the clock here just to hold on to what will be a much-needed 3 points here. We've just got to make sure we do a professional job. We cannot let anything slip here. We cannot allow for any defensive lapses. Now Carlos Cueta into Mope on as a substitute. Out to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's going to try and play it down the left-hand side. Cueta gets in the way. Brentford now can try and hit us on the counter-attack. It's Garcia. Garcia into Rayner. Rayner has options up ahead of him. Goes out wide to Mbuemo. He turns round the corner. Looks to go past Hatto. Flicks it back into the path of Hickey. Mbuemo gets it back. Drives into the box. Hatto goes past him. Oh my word. It's another shambles at the back. And Brentford in the dying seconds of stoppage time level it up here at Goodison Park. Look at the celebrations. Even Thomas Frank's getting involved. I mean, when things are going against you, they really are going against you. Defensively, we just backed off and backed off. We didn't do enough. And perhaps, again, Jordan Pickford really could have done more there. It wasn't exactly in the bottom right-hand corner either. But Brentford celebrate. as the referee surely now will blow for full time. Yes, he does. And it's game over here. It's 1-1. I mean, it is just so frustrating. A dramatic late equaliser from Brentford saw them snatch away the 3 points from us. And whilst our first point of the season does drag us off the bottom place of the table, we are still stuck in the relegation zone in 18th place. And for me, the most frustrating thing is that our poor performing attack isn't even masking our even worse performing defence. Now, since the switch to this 4-3-3 formation, having the extra man in midfield in James Garner clearly is working, as he put in a decent performance and scored the only goal against Brentford, and having the extra man in midfield does give me a little bit more control. However, going forward, we just aren't creating the kind of chances that we were last season. Now again, as much as I would love Everton to be more Barcelona-esque and to play this tiki-taka style, I just do not think we have it in us this season. So once again, I do think I am going to try and go back to this more traditional wing play kind of style. I'm going to try and pull my defence up from being too low block to being at least a little bit higher up the field. And as for my attack, I just don't think we're getting enough bodies forward, so I'm going to ask for a fast build-up play, and I'm going to try and get my players to make as many forward runs as possible, and to try and whip as many balls into the box, and get as many players in the box as well to take advantage of it. I'm not going to make any changes to the starting 11 or to the formation altogether. I'm just going to hope that some of these little tweaks will make all the difference in our very next game. However, with that very next game being up against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, it is going to be a tall order if we want to kickstart our season and pick up our first 3 points of the season. And as I said, no major changes to the usual starting 11, just the one change from the draw against Brentford. Dele Alli comes back in for that career revival, as Damsgaard, who's been fairly anonymous so far, it must be said, since joining us in the summer, drops to the bench. Well, here we go then. Arguably what is going to be our hardest game of the season is going to be the game that we absolutely must win and must pick up the 3 points from. Can we do it today? Time will tell. Onana into Gusto. Gusto plays it in field for Angerin. Really nicely done. He then gives it away to Hato, and Hato now can try and turn away from the challenge of the left winger. McNeil, though, into Onana. Onana's going to try and go back down the left-hand side. He finds McNeil. McNeil over into Beto. Beto tries to find Dele Alli. Badiashile, though, with a big challenge. Branthwaite into Onana. This is a much better start from Everton here. Arguably our best start so far of the season, as McNeil now has it again. And McNeil goes in field looking for Dele Alli on his right. It's blocked. It's a corner. Well, these tactical tweaks look like they are already having an impact. This is a brilliant start from us so far. We're in the ascendancy, and it's thrown in by Garner, but it's headed away. A diving header, I think it was, from Fofana. But Garner will keep the ball alive, and he'll try and shift it on his right to play it into the box. He throws it into the back post, but gets the cross all wrong, and it goes out for a Chelsea goal kick. Angerin around the corner into Cole Palmer. He finds Nicholas Jackson. Nicholas Jackson goes down the right-hand side into Gusto, and Gusto now has acres of space here to drive into the box. Branthwaite is cutting across, but in the end he does just enough, as it's fired straight at Pickford, and we get the ball clear. Fofana now into Nicholas Jackson. Chelsea have just turned up the heat a little bit. Branthwaite is in the right place at the right time yet again, as Dwight McNeil does the dance around Gusto, and he can now try and bring the ball forward into the path of Dele Alli, who's running the channel here. Has he got the beating of Badiashile for pace? Yes, he does. Drives into the box, looking for the cut back into Beto. It's a good interception from Gusto, and a much-needed interception from Gusto. Goes short into Bakayoko. Bakayoko's desperately looking for the overlap, and is blocked off as the pass was not coming quick enough. And now Chelsea can go again down this left-hand side. Moreira Jr. goes one-on-one with Marquet. Marquet doesn't do enough to cover him off, and Nicholas Jackson smashes it into the side netting. Well, a bit of a mixed bag of a first half. I'd say the opening 15-20 minutes we really did take control, and we really did look like we were going to score, but unfortunately we let our concentration slip, and we allowed Chelsea to get back into the game. But fortunately enough, it remains 0-0, and we've got 45 minutes to make a change to that. Garner now has it. Garner's going to try and go down the line into Bakayoko, who has managed to stay on side. He's looking for the run of Beto, can't quite find the run of Beto, and in the end it does go out for a corner, though, that we are going to have an opportunity to take, and it is going to be that man James Garner to take it. I'm going to try and throw it into the box, looking for the big man Marquet, but eventually it's headed clear by Nicholas Jackson. Garner, though, will hopefully get onto the loose ball, heads it down into the path of Dele Alli. Marquet has it, and Marquet strikes from distance. In the end, it's easy for Petrovic. But Neil goes centrally into Onana. Onana turns around the corner, gives it away to Nkunku. It's really poor from the Belgian, and now Nicholas Jackson can thread it over into Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer tries to go one-on-one with Branthwaite, who I have to admit has been very solid so far in this game. Onana, though, will now release McNeil down this left-hand side. McNeil goes back inside into Hato. Hato, it was the wrong ball. That was the pass of a left-back in the wrong place at the wrong time. And yet again, it's another brilliant opportunity that goes begging. Lavia for Chelsea is being hunted down by the Everton Everton press, but does a good enough job of skipping away from it. And now Chelsea have the ball out wide. Lovely little play there from Moreira on the left-hand side. It's cut across now into Nicholas Jackson, who strikes. We just do. No, we don't. I thought we'd just done enough to get the ball clear, and Jordan Pickford came out, and he didn't do enough to get on the end of it, and it just falls to Cole Palmer, who can do the easy job of just side-footing into an empty net. It was bundled around. It came off one of my defenders. Oh, it was an even bigger shambles at the back than I thought. Jordan Pickford didn't get on the end of it, and Cole Palmer is there, and frustratingly for us yet again, it's 1-0 Chelsea. Well, this season is turning into an absolute shambles. I just don't know what is going on. Offensively, we're terrible. Defensively, we are terrible, and we just can't seem to catch a break here. Onana, lovely ball though, into the channel, into Dwight McNeil. I'm going to try and play this across. It's a poor ball, but it is a corner. It's going to be one that Bakayoko is going to take, and once again, I'm going to throw it into the box, looking for the substitute. Huerta doesn't manage to reach him though. Garner will pick up the loose ball. Bakayoko will get another opportunity to throw it back in, this time looking for Onana, and Onana was at the back post, and Onana rose highest to head us into a 1-1 equaliser. Well, it was picked up out wide by Bakayoko. It was thrown in, and Onana just had the strength to get up ahead of the defender, and it was a towering header and a bullet header. A brilliant one, considering he was on the back foot, and Petrovic was rooted to the spot. It's 1-1 here. Well, we've got to try and take this momentum now. We're back in the game here. It perhaps isn't particularly deserved, and we haven't been fantastic in this game, but I just don't care. Gusto now, down the line into Conor Gallagher. Conor Gallagher gets it back from him, and they've managed to get the beating of Hato, and now Onana's trying to come across frantically to try and cover him off. Doesn't do a good enough job. Reece James now has it though. Branthwaite with another big challenge, and he's been very, very good defensively for me. Is this a coming-of-age game for the young man? As now Bakayoko has the opportunity to try and streak down this right-hand side. He's looking for options up ahead of him. Can he find any options up ahead of him? Goes into the box, cuts it back. I was looking for the ball, and almost went to the back post. It was almost a carbon copy of the goal that we conceded, but frustratingly enough though, we can't quite get on the end of it. As Damsgaard though wins the ball back high, and this is the sort of performance now that I'm hoping for. Damsgaard gets away from the defender, is going to try and throw it into the box. It's a terrible ball into the box with his weaker foot. And frustratingly, we throw away another good opportunity as the referee blows for full time to call it here at Stamford Bridge. It ends 1-1. Well, the wait for our first victory in the Premier League this season goes on. Onana, though, fortunately enough for me, did manage to snatch an equaliser at Stamford Bridge. And it's another point on the board that, fortunately enough for me, does drag us out of the relegation zone. And yes, whilst we didn't get the 3 points to our name, I do feel like these tactical tweaks definitely helped. And I definitely felt like I was more in control, and certainly felt like I had more opportunities in that game against Chelsea, but unfortunately we just couldn't take advantage of them. However, looking at the squad and looking at the morale, things are still looking a little bit shaky at Everton Football Club, and if we don't get our first win of the season as quickly as possible, perhaps I'm going to be looking over my shoulder sooner rather than later. And would you believe it, the wait continues. We thought we'd won it with Bakayoko scoring in the 88th minute, but yet again, more lapses in concentrations at the back means a minute later, Aronson levels it up for Leeds United at Goodison Park, and once again we drop 3 points as we can only secure a draw. Manchester United batter us in our very next game though, as they beat us 3-1 at Old Trafford, and things go from bad to worse as Aston Villa at home at Goodison Park knock us out of the Carabao Cup courtesy of a 4-2 penalty victory after 90 minutes. But finally, after game after game after game, the wait for 3 points finally comes to an end. Beto, Dwight McNeil and Dele Alli late on all get on the score sheet as we finally win a game here in Season 2, beating a Nottingham Forest 3-0 at Goodison Park. Well, oh my word, perhaps dreams do really come true. Our first win of the season and the first time we've actually started to put some distance between ourselves and the relegation zone, albeit just by 2 points. And with us travelling down to the St Mary's Stadium to face off against our current relegation rivals Southampton, I am hoping to take this positive momentum into our final game of this episode and hopefully see if we can finally pick up 3 points in a game that I actually take charge of. The same starting 11 that beat Nottingham Forest 3-0 is retained for this game here today. Pickford now up to an 85 rating starting goal. Patterson, Gay, Branthwaite and Hato make up the rest of my defence. Onana, Garner, Damsgaard start in midfield. Bakayoko on the right, McNeil on the left, Beto up front. Stevens for Southampton into Rivamar now. Can't get past Bakayoko, and this is our first opportunity now to try and hit them on the counter-attack. And Garner just about manages to feed it back to Bakayoko, who will now drive down this right-hand side. Has he got an option of Beto into the box? Can he find him? It's a ball in. He cannot find him. It's a poor one, and we should really have hit the back of the net there. Dwight McNeil now on the left-hand side to bring it infield, looking for an option up ahead of him. Tries to find a ball into Damsgaard. Damsgaard, though, tried to go around the corner, but he was offside. Hato to try and bring this one out of defence, and he's done a good job of wriggling away from a couple of challenges there. Dwight McNeil now, nice little touch into Beto, and Beto now can try and run the channel and tried to play it across into Damsgaard, who's held up though, does a good job of winning it back, and Bakayoko hits the bar. Beto keeps the ball alive. Can he try and find an option here? Finds Anana, who tries to strike with his left. It falls to Bakayoko again. Bakayoko now drives into the box, tries to hit it with his right and goes wide. Well, it's been an electric start here from Everton in the opening 20 minutes. We've had two really good opportunities and two opportunities that we really should have taken, but yet again we are unable to find our shooting boots, and yet again we've just got to hope that that doesn't come back to bite us. Patterson into Damsgaard, who's come short. Brantwaite now will go down the centre, but gives it away cheaply to Armstrong, and now Southampton can try and hit back and hit us on the counter as Charles wins it back. Damsgaard came across to try and challenge him, didn't do a good enough job. Dembele now down the right hand side, throws it in, headed away though by Brantwaite to make amends for the earlier mistake. Damsgaard gets his wires all mixed up, and fortunately enough just about manages to get the ball clear. Now Dwight McNeil is going to look for the overlapping run of Hato, does manage to find him, and now Hato can drive down this left hand side. Can he pick out a ball into Beto in the box? No, he can't. Bazunu does just enough to pick the ball up. And again, it's another opportunity wasted. Hato into Anana. Anana into Dwight McNeil. Dwight McNeil across into Damsgaard. Damsgaard looked for Beto. And yet again, the ball is just not good enough. Well, 45 minutes is up, and arguably it was the best 45 minutes so far that we've actually played in this second season. But unfortunately, once again, we're yet to find the back of the net. Can we make amends for that in the second half? As Dwight McNeil now has it. Unfortunately, straight offside. Headed down by Anana into the path of Dwight McNeil. He goes back to Anana. And Anana tries to play it forward, but gives it away to Rivamar in a dangerous spot. And now Southampton can try and bring the ball away. But James Garner, the extra man in midfield, paying dividends yet again. Damsgaard now will pick it up. And Damsgaard now will try and go down this left-hand side into the path of Dwight McNeil. Dwight McNeil now to try and drive in. Tried to play a ball across. It's blocked corner. And Bakayoko will be the man to take that corner. He's going to float it in to the penalty spot looking for Mark Gay. It's headed down, and we just couldn't get on the end of the rebound. But Hato keeps it alive. Into Garner. Garner into Dwight McNeil. Again, we'll try and drive down the left-hand side. The young man has been heavily involved so far in this game, and yet again we'll try and throw it back in, and yet again wins a corner. Bakayoko of course to take, and Bakayoko of course to throw it in again, looking for Dwight McNeil on the head, and just drags it wide. Patterson being chased down here, has to go all the way back to Jordan Pickford. We're just trying to draw Southampton on here to try and see if we can open up a few gaps in their midfield and their defence, but Mark Gay is under a lot of pressure here. Patterson now has it. Look at this press here from Southampton, but that is beautiful. What a piece of play there from the Scotsman. Bakayoko tried to play it across, and it was so poor. That could have been a really, really good opportunity, and it would have all started from the right back. But look at this from Southampton. They now try and see if they can be the ones to get into the ascendancy and to find the back of the net first. It's pulled all the way out to the right-hand side to Payne. McNeil, though, who's been heavily involved so far, and arguably his best performance so far in this season, of course, comes across and makes the challenge. Dembele will be the man to take the throw, and he finds Armstrong. Dembele gets it back from him. He plays it back into the path of Charles. Charles tried to go past Hato. Does go past Hato. Armstrong into the box, and it's a brilliant save from Pickford. Well, are Southampton now starting to take their heads out of the sand and starting to find a way into this game? It's Dwight McNeil who heads it away, and he does manage to get onto the loose ball here. And now Dwight McNeil can try and drive away here. It's into Bakayoko, who's just about managed to stay on side. The Belgian now will try and drive inside. Cuts it in on his left. He continues his run, shapes it up to strike, and gets it all wrong on his right. Well, he did all the hard work, did Bakayoko. All he had to do was try and find the back of the net. Went past about 3 players and just got his shot all wrong. Dragged it away wide. And that's what happens when you try and shoot and you're weak of foot. Let's a car for Southampton. Just under 10 minutes remaining on the clock here for us to try and see if we can somehow clinch a winner, as Anana manages to clinch the ball in the centre of the park really nicely. And Dwight McNeil now will play it into the path of Dele Alli on as a substitute. Dele Alli with the chance. Dele Alli to strike. Dele Alli finally to find the back of the net for Everton with 85 minutes on the clock. What a time to score. Absolutely brilliant. Once again, it was Dwight McNeil who was heavily involved. He gets the assist, but the work goes to Dele Alli. A brilliant finish. calm, composed, and right on the 6-yard box, just bent it round the goalkeeper. Have Everton Football Club finally won a second game of the season? Well, I thought we'd won it when we played Brentford, but frustratingly, we then went and gave a goal away in the dying seconds of stoppage time. We have to make sure that we stay more professional and we stay more concentrated this time around. It's a ball forward, but yet again, Patterson, who has been very good so far in this game, wins it, and now Bakayoko can try and bring this one away, and he plays it into Ghana. Ghana now can try and feed it across. He can't get there ahead of Kaletakar. If he had managed to feed it across to Beto, surely Beto would have been in there, but Beto now is going to be the man to try and chase down Stevens. He hacks it clear. Will the referee blow for full time? The Everton fans and I are praying he does, and finally he does. We'll look at the celebrations from the Everton players. They know how important back-to-back victories in the Premier League are, but it will be that man Dele Alli who will get the applaud. It's coming on as a substitute in place of Damgard. He gets the goal that secures the 3 points for us today. As at full time it finishes Southampton 0, Everton 1. Well, the change in tactical tweaks from tiki-taka to wing play seems to have had a profound effect on this Everton team. Dele Alli getting the dramatic late winner against Southampton. As not only does it mean we managed to beat our relegation rivals, but it also means we managed to drag ourselves up to 14th place. And now it is finally time to start looking up rather than looking down. And so now I think it's the perfect opportunity to bring an end to what has been a rollercoaster of an episode. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you again next time.